You've got questions, and I've got answers. Let's Talk Lions. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Let's Talk Lions. Today is another Q&A segment where you ask me your questions regarding the Lions, regarding what's going on, and I give you the best answers that I can. Basically, as we grow here at Let's Talk Lions, I'm getting more and more questions, and it's becoming a little bit more difficult to answer all of them or most of them. And so what we're going to start doing is every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. having a Q&A live stream. So I will ask for your questions on Friday. This way I have a few ready to go that we can talk about and I can make segments out of. And then also answering your questions live. I think what that will allow us to do is to actually have more of a conversation, to be able to see your questions, answer them, and this way not too many of you get left behind in the dust, because I do want to answer your questions. And so as we grow, the questions are coming in, there's even more, they're awesome, and I love doing this. And so we're going to start live streaming every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. So without any further ado, let's get into today's Q&A segment. The first question comes from BB. BB asked, do you think Goff is the answer? My assumption, BB, is that you are asking, do I think he's the answer for the quarterback room for the Lions right now? Not, is he the answer for the Detroit Lions? Because I don't believe any single player is ever the answer. No single player can be the answer for a football team. So my assumption is you mean for the QB position. And even there, the answer is difficult. Goff, with the correct pieces around him, is a great quarterback. He's a winning quarterback with the right pieces. That is vital. Goff is not your Mahomes. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not this legend that gets out there and can just make things happen. However, Goff with the right pieces is excellent. And so, is he the answer for the Lions in the future? I think only time will tell. I think this season we're going to learn a lot about Goff, especially as fans of the Lions, being able to call him our quarterback. We're going to learn a ton about him. So I can't exactly give you a yes or no. I think it comes down to what Holmes and Campbell put around him. Looking at the running game portion, there are some serious weapons. And so really offensively, can we protect Goff, and can we get some guys for him to throw to? Which brings me to the second question from a one Mr. Ian Saunders. Ian says, so the national media says that we have no weapon for Goff, as in a star receiver. Do you agree? Basically, what I was getting at are those pieces around Goff are vital for his performance and for him to accelerate. You got guys like Rodgers or Brady that can make things happen with pieces that are not as that aren't the Stephon Diggs, that aren't the Kenny Galladays out there on the field. Now, do I think that we have zero weapons? Listen, the national media, I refuse to even listen to anymore regarding the Detroit Lions. National media hates the Lions. What they like about us is being able to make fun of us. And so that's why I started this channel. I couldn't handle the fact that national media just made fun of the franchise, the organization as a whole, and the fan base. I became done with it. And so I don't listen to them. When they say that we have no weapons, as in a receiver, I understand what they're saying because, yeah, Stephon Diggs isn't wearing Honolulu blue. Kenny Galladay's no longer wearing Honolulu blue. So I understand that, but I wouldn't say that we have zero weapons for him. Because if you're going to tell me that DeAndre Swift, that Jamal Williams, that TJ Hawkinson, that these guys aren't weapons, what's the national media saying then? They're just not. You tell me Pro Bowler TJ Hawkinson is not a weapon for Goff? I just think they're wrong in that. And so I get it on the wide receiver front because Terrell Williams isn't a name that jumps out at you. That Khalif Raymond isn't a name that jumps at you. That Perriman, you're like, oh, okay, well, Perriman. Like, these names aren't the big dog names. However, they are wide receivers that are extremely fast, create excellent separation, and are great. And so I look at them and no, they may not be your top tier, But to say that we don't have any weapons offensively, I just think is wrong. We don't have any star wide receivers. That's not wrong. But we do have weapons. And I think even those wide receivers are weapons in and of themselves with their speed. You can't call them, you can't say that they're not weapons. And so I think that the national media just hates the Lions. Always have, always will. Unless you're Nate Burleson. The next question comes from Kyle Massey asking, with the Niners trading up to 3, does that take us out of the running to draft a quarterback? Yes, I think it does. That's my own personal thought. I absolutely think that takes us out of the QB race. Why? Because it's projected that spots 1 through 4, that draft picks 1 through 4 will be a quarterback. That is the projection. That is the thought. And with that being said, quite frankly, if the Lions were interested in anybody that we thought we might be able to get our hands on, it was Trey Lance. Well, it's projected that he could be going at 3. And so if they do, we're not looking at Mac Jones. That's not the route. That's not the direction that the Lions will be going to. We know that we have Jared Goff through 21 and most likely 2022, unless we wanted to waste $30 million in dead cap. And so I think right now this takes us out of the running for a QB this year. Unless Holmes was able to do some sort of warlock magic and make something happen in a trade. But I don't see it happening that way. I think that the Lions are now at a top position to draft a top tier non-QB. The next question comes from Jack McNeil asking, do the signings of Terrell Williams, Khalif Raymond, and Damian Radley show that the Lions aren't thinking about drafting a wide receiver in this draft? No. I don't believe so. I really believe that pretty much any position offensively, defensively, other than QB and cornerback are open for the first round in the draft pick. Just my personal thought, looking at it, wide receiver, the only tight end possibility is Kyle Pitts because he really could be a wide receiver as well. And looking at his incredible skill sets, which I will be doing a video next week, so I'm not going to get into it here. But I do believe that wide receiver is still in the mix. We're at 7. And if a QB is projected to go 1 through 4, that means 5, 6, and 7 very well will be the top tier non-QB position will be. The only reason I could see us passing on a wide receiver in this draft is because talented wide receivers are more easily come by than more talented X other positions, right? I think wide receivers often, and you can draft great ones going into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. You can find talent deeper. And so is there the possibility? I don't think it rules out a wide receiver, but I also don't believe we're gung-ho. Wide receiver is definite. I know I've seen some mock drafts being like, oh yeah, the Lions are going for a wide receiver. I don't know. The next question comes from Lions fan 1 Paulie LFP asking, when are you going to go live stream again? Well, Mr. LFP, I will be live streaming next Saturday, most likely at 11 a.m., doing this, a Q&A session with all of you. So be there or be square. Is that still a saying? Do people say that anymore? Because if they do, I'm in the in. And if not, yeah, it feels like a no. It feels like that's not said anymore. The next question comes from Steve DeYoung asking, basically, with all the signings that have been made, all the position groups other than QB are still pretty open. And so with that being said, he asks, would you rather get in the first round Micah Parsons from Penn State to attack the QB, or would I rather get Slater from Northwestern to protect the QB? You all know my thoughts. Micah Parsons would be my choice between those two. Off field, I understand there are some character issues that it's tough to address, but personally, and this is just very personally, and you can think what you want, but the way I live my life and what I believe in is grace and having grace and forgiveness for individuals. And does that mean that people can just go around and do whatever they want and you just keep extending grace? I mean, there's a certain point where people prove themselves to be who they are, but Micah Parsons is a young man who made some bad decisions. And so I don't think it's exactly fair to just slap a tag on him and say, you are this. That's just me. I think there's so much development for off-field character. looking at him on field, I want to attack the quarterback. I listened to Sheila when she talked to our new defensive end, Harris, saying, go get the QB. I can't handle, as a Lions fan, having to watch twice a year Aaron Rodgers in the backfield just bounce back there and not get hit. I want to attack the QB, which is why defensively looking Micah Parsons would be a great pickup for the Lions. So between Slater and Parsons, I'm going Parsons. This next question comes from like 7 of you. Legit 5 to 7 of you asked in a different way what it means now with the trade that the Eagles, the Finns, and the 49ers made yesterday. That crazy trade. What does that mean for the Lions at 7? Who will they most likely be drafting? First and foremost, the most glaring thing is it looks like we're not drafting a QB. That's number one. Right off the bat, it looks like a QB is not on the slate, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with Goff going into this year, seeing how he performs again next year. This way, potentially drafting a quarterback next season, having them learn under Goff, watch as we will have Goff through 2022, no doubt. So how does this affect the Lions drafting? Well, I think at 7, that means we're not drafting a quarterback. That's the most glaring thing coming out. I think that's something that we would look to do next year, because really we have Goff this year and next season. We're not going to take a $30 million dead cap hit. I would be blown away. So with that being said, next year is more likely a QB type of year. Not unless, of course, Holmes does something to trade up. But looking at it, I think that kind of shows that Kyle Pitts, Micah Parsons, or if Penei Sewell drops, Penei Sewell being an option. I think it simply just narrows our vision on, are we going wide receiver Kyle Pitts or Micah Parsons defensively? Just my thoughts. Cam asks, how do I feel about the wide receiver room with all the moves that have been made over the past couple weeks? I'll say this, it is a fast wide receiver room. Yes, we don't have the star wide receiver like Golladay anymore. We don't have the guy where you're like, oh, okay, everybody, like this is who we're double teaming. We don't have that. What we do have are great wide receivers that are extremely fast and can create separation. And that is a totally different approach than what we were last year. And so I am looking forward to seeing how that all plays out going into this season. Titus D asks what my favorite Lions free agent signing was this year so far. It's Jamal Williams. Hands down. I love the Jamal Williams signing. His infectious personality, just knowing that it's going to help shape and change the culture of being a Detroit Lion, but B, seeing his skill sets, all that he has to offer as a running back, as a duo with DeAndre Swift, him being able to block, catch, and run. I think Jamal Williams is going to have an extreme impact here in Detroit. Favorite signing thus far. That is it for today. That is the Q&A segment. If I did not answer your question, I am sorry. We're just getting so many. And that's why starting next week at 11 a.m., we're going to start live streaming these question and answer segments. So I look forward to it. Hopefully I have not offended you in the case that I did not answer your question. But that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A segment. Hopefully I've given you some insight. And with that being said, I will catch you next time on Let's Talk Lions.